So now we start with the third part of this first chapter of environmental economics. Till now we were dealing with environmental economics, that is economics on one part, economic development on one part, and also the protection of environment on the other part. Now we are moving with that. We started with the concept of sustainable development. That means development also capable of the future generation. We are taking care of the future generation also, that is sustainable development. So we are dealing with the importance of sustainable development. Why should we have sustainable development? There are 8 points that we have to study. First of all, resource utilization and conservation. So if there is sustainable development, the resources that is very scarce on earth can be utilized correctly and can be conserved for the future development. Second is pollution control. Only if we control the number of the pollution around us, air, water, land pollution, we can conserve this. Only then we can conserve the natural resources. Third is waste management. Now they are out of production. Because of production, large number of waste will be there. So we have to actually manage the waste. Only then we can we have to reuse the waste. Only then we will be able to keep the development sustainable. Next is balancing environmental and economic development. Of course, that is one of the most important aspect of sustainable development. We can balance the environment on one part. We will not move to both the ends. On one end, some people think that only economic development is required. On the other hand, some people think that only protecting environment is required. No, we require both these things. So we require a middle path. So by sustainable development, we will be able to balance environment and economic development. Second is policy implication. That means when the national leaders make their policies, the macroeconomic policies, this sustainable development plays a very vital role. Based on that, they can make the policies. Next is halting degeneration of biodiversity. That means the biodiversity, the specific species, some of the species are getting extinct. That means it getting finished, completed. So in order to protect those biodiversities, sustainable development is very important. Now this protecting of halting degeneration biodiversity is important in many aspects that will come in the later sections also. Now placing a check on growth of human population. So by sustainable development also the important stress is there on checking human population, because only if the human population is in control, we can control the use of the natural resource or the environment. Only then we can have a balancing between the environment and the economic development. So we have to check the growth of human population. Also, it provides solution to socio-economic problems. There are many social economic problems that happen because of this environmental degradation and also economic development. So sustainable development can help us to give a solution to this thing. Now what are the measures, or how can we measure the measures that should be taken for sustainable development? First of all, rationalize husbanding, that is taking care of. Husbandry means taking care of. So we have to be rational in using the natural resources. We have to use the natural resources rationally. Second is conservation, recycle and reuse. So whatever is there, we have to preserve, conserve, protect, and at the same time whatever is possible we have to reuse and also recycle. So that is one of the measures. Third is sharing resources. Now many times we don't share resources. If suppose a country is in falling lack of some resources, we have to share them. Generally if that happens, automatically sustainable development will be possible. Educating people should be educated about the need of conserving or preserving the environment. Adopting sustainability as a way of life. That means every human being should be taught that this environment or the ecology is not only for themselves but also for the future use. So only if they are coming to this ideology that this environment is not only for me but also for the others, such a kind of way of life should be blended into each person's daily living. Next is blending economic development and ecology to eradicate poverty. So poverty can also be eradicated by blending economic development and ecology. So there are 6 points which comes under the measures of sustainable development. Next, we are going to deal with the main topic called as natural resource. We all know what is a natural resource. A natural resource are those resources or raw materials which are obtained from nature free of cost. The nature gives us the natural resources. There are two types of natural resources. One is renewable, which can be renewed. That means sunlight, solar energy is a renewable natural resources, and some others are there which are non-renewable. The coal mines are non-renewable. It cannot be renewed again and again. But renewable is, forest is renewable resource. We can plant new trees, we can plant, again the trees will come up. But non-renewable resources cannot be renewed, or once it is over means it is over. So, on the basis of the origin also divided into two parts. One is biotic and abiotic. Origin. Biotic means that comes out of life. Abiotic means out of non-living things. It means forest, from the rock. The natural resources we get from the rock are abiotic, whereas trees and all are biotic in their origin, natural resources. What are the significance of natural resources? There are 9 significance. First of all, agricultural development. To develop agriculture, we require natural resource like land, grains, fertilizers, etc., which are important natural raw materials for agricultural development. Industrial development. All the industries depend on natural resources for their raw materials, like coal, iron, all these things are natural resources, and all of them depend on these natural resources as a source of their raw material. So, industrial development can happen only because of natural resources. Next is energy. Solar energy, wind energy, water energy, all these energies are created from natural resources. Source of marine resources. The marine resources are many in number, which we get from the water bodies. So, natural resources or the water bodies are the source of marine resources. Tourism, because of the ecology or beauty of the environment, we have tourism happening, which is an important source of economic development. Overall development, an integrated and a sustainable development of the entire economy and also of human health and life can be made possible only through the natural resources. Sustainable development, not only of this generation but also of the future generation, is made possible because of the natural resources. Halting degeneration of biodiversity, as we explained it earlier. We have to stop the degeneration of biodiversity and minimization of environmental pollution. So, all these 9 points are the significance or the importance of natural resources. Now, how we have to conserve natural resources? So, conserve comes from two words called as con, which means together. Sarvare means to keep or guard. So, we have to guard the natural resources together. So, there are 3 principles of conservation, that is development, preservation and protection of public interest. So, under these 3 points are the 3 principles. The principle of development, we have to, conservation is necessary because we have to develop natural resources. Conservation is necessary because we have to preserve natural resources, and also for the protection of public interest. It's for the common good of the entire public that we require conservation of natural resources. Next is the current scenario. Importance of conservation of natural resources. First of all, we have to understand the 3 sources of natural resources. First of all, there is forest source. From the forest we get mud, we get the trees and all, which is an important source of natural resource. Second is mineral resource. Mineral resources are again 3 in types. First of all, there is fuel minerals like coal, petroleum, natural gas. Metallic minerals like iron ore, bauxite, chromium, and also non-metallic minerals like clay, dolomite, limestone, etc. So, these mineral resources are also natural resources. Third is water resources. As we know, all the resources we get from water, the fish or the gems, pearls, etc. in the water are all water resources from where we get natural resources. Now, what is the need of conserving of natural resources? It's an important question. First of all, to check the environmental pollution. To check the environmental pollution, we have to conserve natural resources, because trees, if we cut down trees, what will happen? The level of carbon dioxide in the air will increase, gradually global warming will increase. So, in order to control that, we should have trees around us. To attain sustainable development, for sustainable development we should preserve the natural resources. For the development that should happen in the next generation also, we have to preserve the natural resources. Third is to improve the quality of human life. The quality of human life can be bettered only by conserving or preserving the natural resources. Fourth is halting degeneration of biodiversity. Fifth is balancing environment economic development. This also we saw in the upper part. To maintain ecological health. The ecology should be healthy. or else the ozone layer, if it goes on depleting, what will happen? The global warming will increase, and as a result of this, there will be harmful ultraviolet rays coming to the earth, and also acid rains etc. falling on you. So to maintain ecological health, we require this, and also to regulate the global warming. To regularly control that, we should preserve the natural resources. Now, what are the methods or the elements of conservation, or the methods of conserving? First of all, waste reduction. What the waste we produce after production has to be reduced. Second is careful utilization of natural renewable resources. Whatever resources are renewable are there, they have to be carefully utilized. There are many acts which have come under the government of India. There are around 3 to 4 acts: the Environmental Protection of 1986, the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, the Article 48A of the Constitution of India, Article 51 of the Constitution of India. So all these acts are important, which are the measures taken by the government to protect and preserve the or conserve the natural resources. Next is environmental education. People have to be educated about the importance of protecting the environment. Unless and until it is educated from the school level itself, they have to be educated that it is important to preserve natural resources, or what is our role in preserving the environment, etc. Fourth is sustainable use of natural resources. That means natural resources should be used in such a way that they are remaining even for the future generation to use. Next is halting degeneration of biodiversity. Biodiversity have to be protected. The different species have to be protected. By protecting that, we are conserving the natural resources. Next is planning check on population growth. When we are putting a check on the population growth, automatically we are conserving the natural resource, because as the population increases, the consumption of natural resource also increase. So in order to reduce the consumption of natural resource, we have to check the population. The seventh is checking population of environment and stabilizing chemical cycles. So we also have to check the pollution of the environment. The pollution of the environment is going on increasing, and also the chemical cycles. These have to be stabilized and checked on a regular basis. Only then we will be able to preserve and conserve the elements of natural resources. So by this we come an ending to this chapter. It's actually a pretty long chapter of around 60 pages, but the topics are repeated under one or the other titles. In total, we saw around 7 titles which were dealt with. First of all, we dealt with the meaning of environmental economics. Second, we dealt with the nature of environmental economics, scope of environmental economics, importance of environmental economics, relation between environment and economic development, meaning of sustainable development, importance of sustainable development. Then we went into natural resources, its significance and conservation. So these were the 9 topics which we dealt with. Go through the question and answers. If you have any doubts, please do ask. A lot of explanation is not required in these topics. That's why I didn't wait for a lot of explanations. If you have any doubts in any of these topics, please do feel free to question them. Many of these things we have primarily studied in our schools and high school levels when we are studying about conservation of ecology, etc. So the words and terminologies are very much familiar to you. There is nothing big economics in this. It's only about environment and how to protect the environment. So environmental economics, its nature and scope is there. So if there is any doubt, anything is there, just put up a question in the WhatsApp group, or you can personally put up a question to me in my WhatsApp number. Thank you. God bless you. Try to write the answers of these questions, and if you find difficulty in finding the answers, please do put up a note to me. I will try to find the answers for you. May God bless you. Thank you.